What's up, everybody? My name is Raj Chena, and welcome to my third review in my ongoing series for reviews for the Marvel Cinematic Universe leading up to Avengers Infinity War. This week, I'm talking about Iron Man 2. The first sequel, actual sequel in the MCU that goes along with a film that has already been established. How do I explain this? We hadn't had Incredible Hulk 2 yet. That's what I'm trying to go here. Whatever. So this is the sequel to the first film. It picks right off where Tony announces the world that he is Iron Man and all that, and he is learning what it is like as a billionaire playboy philanthropist, now superhero, while everybody knows your name. There's a lot going on in this film. One, he is running his Stark Expo. It's basically a convention of all the most brilliant scientific minds to come together to pull whatever they can to hopefully protect the world or enhance the world in a way. He is running into a bit of a gamble with this new guy known as Whiplash, played by Mickey Rourke. And at the same time, he is dying. Yeah, the arc reactor that is in his chest is not only keeping him alive, but it is also simultaneously killing him. And so Tony has to find a way to solve this puzzle out. The film brings back, once again, Robert Downey Jr. As always, he's Tony Stark. Well, what more can we say about him? He has defined the role since 2008, and he's always entertaining. He's as Obadiah Stane, Jeff Bridges' Obadiah Stane from the first Iron Man has once said, is that he's always working. And he is. He's always working. We have returning faces such as Jon Favreau as Happy Hogan, who also directed the film, Gwyneth Paltrow as Pepper Potts, some other faces that we have seen before, like Sam Jackson as Nick Fury, who we only saw at the end credits of the first film. But then, along with that, we have some fresh faces in the crowd. We have Sam Rockwell as Justin Hammer, who's basically a reverse Tony Stark, who is basically Tony before he got kidnapped in the first film. Just a genuine douchebag prick, and he's making weapons. Basically, if Tony Stark were never to be kidnapped by terrorists, that's basically what Justin Hammer is. We have Scarlett Johansson in her first ever appearance in the MCU as quote-unquote Natalie Rushman, but we all know her to be as Natasha Romanoff, a.k.a. Black Widow. This was her first appearance. Replacing Terrence Howard from the first film, we have Don Cheadle as Colonel James Rhodes, or as we will soon come to know as War Machine, who makes his first debut in the MCU. Yeah. And I think I mentioned his name already. We have Mickey Rourke as Whiplash. I can't remember his actual... Hold on. Ivan Vanko. That's it. Yeah. There is a lot to talk about here. For one, the plot, while entertaining and semi-interesting in certain areas, there is a lot going on here. When I first saw this movie, I felt like this was one of the most messiest Marvel Cinematic Universe films, but still entertaining. There are characters you do like, characters that you could actually look back at it, like, you know what, I wouldn't mind watching the scene again because of this character. Like, for example, Black Widow. When her scene comes up during the third act, it's friggin' badass. You can't deny that at all. I think the best way to talk about this film is by comparing it to a film that came out in 2016, and that is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice. Remember that movie? Yeah. Apparently, both films are pretty much the same thing. Both feature a messed up billionaire playboy protagonist with a suit of armor and another symbol of America who is trying to do better, and then they both have a little bit of a beef with one another, and then comes a sexy female badass that is just there for the sake of being there and to remind us that this is a pretty big universe. But unlike Batman v Superman, Iron Man 2 is still entertaining. I can watch this for hours and still be entertained by the ridiculous shit going on the screen. The best parts in this movie, the best story outline in this entire movie, in my opinion, is when Tony is trying to figure out how to stay alive. You know, how he overcome his his chest problem. And that was cool. That was a really well done storyline. I think they nailed it, unlike some of the other stuff that was going on in this movie. One thing I do have to say about Iron Man 2 is that hopefully Batman v Superman can actually attain from this. I don't know if it can, considering how messy of a movie that was. Is the fact that this movie surprisingly aged a lot better than when it first came out. Like, for example, when Spider-Man Homecoming was about to hit theaters, Tom Holland, who, by the way, really, really sucks at keeping a secret, by the way, given that he's the Spider-Man and Spider-Man is supposed to keep his identity a secret. Yeah. Apparently, Captain America Civil War was not Peter Parker's first appearance in the MCU. No. Apparently, which is actually the coolest thing anybody could ever come up with, is that during the final act in Iron Man 2, where Justin Hammer's drones were being controlled by Ivan Vanko and they're chasing Tony around in his suit, there was this little boy. I'll post like a screenshot here if I can, where there's this little boy wearing an Iron Man's helmet. You know, those classic, pretty big-headed Iron Man helmets where, you know, the faceplate pops up like that. It's one of those. This kid was standing around in the middle of a crowded and panic-driven convention, and a Hammer drone recognizes him as Iron Man, not as just a little kid. And so the drone jumps down, attempts to kill the kid, because apparently if you're a kid in the MCU, like a little kid, you're an idiot, basically. And this doesn't just occur to just the MCU, but every comic book movie, where if it's either a mother, a pregnant lady, or just a little kid, you're going to be an absolute dumb fuck, okay? That's always been a thing, since the first Superman movie. But, yeah, like, this Hammer droid was about to kill this kid, and of course Iron Man comes in to save the day, and then that's it. Well, everybody has been making theories that little kid is Peter Parker, until all of a sudden Tom Holland, the new Spider-Man, officially confirms that kid is Peter Parker, a young, I believe, 8-year-old, 10-year-old Peter Parker, which actually makes a lot of sense and lines up with the timeline, considering in Homecoming, he's basically 15, so a mere 5 or 7 to 8 years earlier, we saw Peter Parker in Iron Man 2. Stuff like that makes the weaker aspects of the MCU, particularly Iron Man 2, which I originally thought was the first official weak addition to the MCU. It still kind of is. It still has a lot of plot going around here and there. It's very unfocused at certain areas, but when things do tend to pop up that are meant to be focused on, it's really well done. And moments like a young Peter Parker being in Iron Man 2, it just made the whole film a lot better for me. Just to note that a fan theory has been officially confirmed, that says a lot, you know? And that's what's really interesting about Marvel, with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is when something happens in a specific point, and if you don't know what's going on outside of the movie scene, if you know what has been confirmed, you know, in terms of who owns the rights, because at this point, when Iron Man 2 came out, the only characters Marvel did own was pretty much everything else that isn't X-Men, Deadpool, Fantastic Four, Namor, and Spider-Man. Spider-Man was still Sony. They were undergoing the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, and everything, that's all history. Then years later, when Spider-Man was announced that he is finally jumping in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they can finally make changes without actually making changes, which is absolutely cool. And with the recent announcement of Disney winning over Fox's rights to, say, Fantastic Four, X-Men, Deadpool, we can finally see some other interesting retcons without being retcon. You know, that's a really cool addition. I can't wait to talk about more of that in future films. That alone is just mind-boggling to me, you know, for what Disney and Marvel has done and continues to do so in this day and age. It's really interesting. But with that said, Iron Man 2 is still an entertaining movie, and there's a lot of action, just like the first one, cool special effects. The music is not as memorable as the first film, where I can easily just pop the songs onto my iPhone and instantly listen to it. Iron Man 2 has some catchy beats here and there, but they're not memorable, like Driving the Top Down or the Mark 2, 3, Iron Man, or Gulmira. Oh god, I can actually just imagine listening to it right now. But Iron Man 2 has a pretty weak soundtrack. The performances are really good. The story is, like I said, very jumbled, and there is a lot of characters going on around here and there. It's a mess. It's a mess of a film that actually managed to get better in time. I think this is let's see, Batman v Superman, I gotta see if I'm not mistaken. I gotta look back at my review. But this is definitely, it's still, like I said, very entertaining, but very, very messy. So with that said, I am going to declare Iron Man 2 a solid B-. It's weak, but it's not bad. I still had a lot of fun rewatching it, especially for this review. If you hated the film, and if you thought that it got better, you like it now than you did 8 years ago, then let me know in the comments. If you loved it originally and you still do, let me know. And next week, we're going to be finally talking about a different comic book character that is not Iron Man or Hulk. Next week, we get to talk about the mighty God of Thunder. So I can't wait to talk about that. See you next week, and we'll talk more. Oh, and yeah, RWBY Volume 5 is about to and this weekend, which is cool. So later on this week, you'll be receiving a review of my thoughts on chapters 11, 12, and 13. Chapter 14, which is the finale of RWBY Volume 5, will be getting its own special review once the episode is available for everybody, you know. I just wanted to give that a little announcement right now before I close off the video. But with that said, thank you so much for watching. Please like, subscribe, hit the bell notification to receive notifications of whenever I post a damn video. It really means a lot if you actually share the video with others and, let me know what you think. I still plan to see a lot of movies this year. I just don't know if I'll be able to get to said movies. I'll probably be able to, but we'll see. Okay, I think I've rambled long enough. I'm going to end it right there. Once again, thanks so much, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.